Hey guys, Greg with MOA Custom Firearms. Wanted to give you something that we ran across tonight, and we are going to address it on camera. Hopefully it comes out exactly like I want it to, and I'll show you in just a second. But I'm working with a customer of mine who has a couple of guns with me right now. We're doing a custom 1911 build for him, which you're going to get to see the build from start to finish on that gun. But he also has a couple of shotguns with me right now that are getting some work done. One is an 1899 Prussian Charles Daly, and this gun had a broken stock right around the wrist, and it's a it's a box lock, but it's kind of a modified box lock, side lock. Really cool deal. Nice shotgun that I think we're going to end up doing a lot of work on. But the first thing that we're doing with it is he wanted it restocked. The person who did the repair on it, and I'll show you the gun in just a second, the person who did the repair on it, I mean, I guess it's effective, but they basically just slathered this thing with some kind of an epoxy and then glassed over it, and it's, like I said, I guess it's effective, but it's really unsightly. It's not aesthetically pleasing like a gun like this should be. So when I got the trigger guard off, it actually, the screw that goes through the buttstock from the lower plate to the upper plate, they had actually ground the head down, so there's no way to get a screwdriver in there and get that pin out so that we can get the stock off and get it sent off to a duplicator. So I'm going to go ahead and show you just the absolute nightmare that we've got going on here, and then we're going to come back, and this is probably one of the very, very few things that you'll see me ever break out a Dremel on. Yeah, I can use an easy out. Yeah, I can put it on the mill. Yeah, I can line it up perfect. But before I go through all of that, I'm going to try to just cut a slot for a turn screw or a screwdriver. The old English gunsmiths called them turn screws. And we're going to see if this thing will just fortunately be loose enough, not rusted, not frozen, not galled, anything like that, and we'll be able to get this pin out without a whole lot more work and having to mount it up in the mill and really try to get some precision work done on it. So not necessarily backyard gunsmithing, but more effective gunsmithing if it works. So coming at you, let me show you what we've got going on. So here you can just kind of see this torturous epoxy job that was done around the checkering where this stock was broken, and so he wants this stock replaced. So we're going to be trying to get it off to a duplicator. But the real Bubba work here comes when we turn around and look at where the screw is. This is the screw that goes through to the top right there behind the safety, and some jackass ground the head of it off, so we can't even get a turn screw in there on it. So I'm going to try to just cut. I mean, obviously the head of the screw is still very visible. It looks like they probably ground it down to try to get the trigger guard to fit a little better. So I'm going to come in and just try to cut a groove in that pin to get it out of there without a whole lot of work. And if it doesn't work, then we'll drop back to drilling and an easy out. All right, so as I said, one of the rare times that you'll see one of these in my hand. They're like the bane of gunsmithing existence, but there are a few jobs occasionally where they do come in handy. So I'm going to just try to be really steady here and get a good cut right in the center of the head of that screw and see if I can get enough to get a purchase point on to get a turn screw in there without damaging the receiver. All right, so we'll see if that's enough to get a screwdriver to turn that. It did get, because these wheels are so big, it did get a little bit into the receiver. Fortunately, it's underneath the trigger guard, and so it won't be visible. And I may even still take it to my welder and have him dress that up and then file it down. We'll see how far we go with this gun, if it's going to end up being a full restoration or what we're going to end up with. So let me grab a screwdriver here, see if I can get one that's a good fit down in there. I think I need one with a little bit wider blade. Let's try that one. All right. Oh yeah, it's coming out. Not very easy. It's coming out. Come on. I have movement. If it takes a while, it takes a while. So I'm going to do this, and then we'll come back in just a second and show you how we ended up. Okay, so that screw, we got it out. It came out pretty easy. Yeah, we got just a hair of damage right there. We'll see what the rest of the project holds. We're going to have to take this large screw out here and separate the receiver, and then this thing should come right out. So I'm going to take this screw out. It's going to take a little bigger turn screw than what I've got here, and obviously we're going to have to remake that. So that'll be some lathe work to make a new screw here shortly, and that'll be after we get the stock back. We'll worry about making another screw. So with that, I'll get this screw out, and then we'll come back and take another look. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with side-by-sides, finer side-by-sides, English doubles, that type of thing, there's usually a screw right here in front of the trigger guard. It's visible, and it will usually have some type of ornamental cartouche or some type of engraving on it, just for pure aesthetics. These things are usually an absolute bear to come out, but once it comes out, that's what separates the upper and lower parts of the receiver, so that you can get the stock out, because the trigger mechanism is sitting in the stock. You can't just take that rear screw out and just pull the stock out of the rear. So we're going to try to get that screw out and see if we get this stock off. We get the stock off. We've got about 90% of this work done. Okay, that's a lie. We've got about 10% of this work done. All right. All right, so here we go. We'll see if this comes out pretty easily. And it's turning, and there it goes. Coming out pretty easy. So this will probably, I've got a good hold here, because this may just absolutely come apart. It's not a very big screw. It just holds the two pieces together. I'll kind of show you how that lays out here, and just, there it goes. So that trigger plate will just come right out. There's your trigger assemblies that controls all of your fire controls, and the stock is out. So now I can get sent off to the duplicator, and we should be able to get another stock in for it, and we'll get it finished. And it's got a pretty simple checkering pattern on it. We'll do the checkering by hand, figure out what lines per inch that is, and get this gun rolling.